man, and that was my first scare. Definitely wasn't the last. Welcome back. I'm excited you guys are joining me for the rest of the adventures in flight school. You know, I can't believe how much has happened in the remaining days of training here. So, where was I? Oh yeah, the next day we headed back to the runway. So it's day 2 now. The weather's looking a lot more promising than it was yesterday around this time. I got my Risky Biscuits t-shirt on, and now I'm excited to do a bit of flying. We started out the day with a little bit of practice kiting, but it wasn't long till we pulled the winch out again so we could get back up into the air. The only difference is, this time we gotta pull the release so we can free fly. Got it. Good job. Ah, felt good. The release was super easy. One of the best parts of Air Adventure is they picked us up in golf carts, which allowed us to get in at least 4 times as many towed flights in the day. One of the first drills Claudio put us through were S-turns. Later on, we did a few other maneuvers that helped us judge our landing spot better. Not every flight was smooth. Some of the people I was with had a few accidents which I unfortunately missed on camera. Good thing I caught this one. You okay? Thanks for reenacting it. You are really? I think so. So the wind's picked up quite a bit and I almost took an unwanted flight here. But kind of grabbed the tip of the wing and yeah, almost went soaring. But we're safe. Just waiting for the wind to die down just a little. The wind was starting to pick up, which made it really difficult to practice. So we headed back to the shop so we could bust out our motors and get them balanced and ready for flying. It was a bit of an odd feeling to get used to with such a large weight on the back, but I got suspended from the ceiling to get the motor properly angled for my weight. It wasn't long till the wind died down so we could head back to the runway to practice tow flights with the added weight of the motor on our backs. However, we weren't the only ones using the runway to train. The added weight did pose a few extra challenges, but the learning progression for the class was nice and steady. Well, going to get some stuff packed up here right now because it looks like the storm clouds are coming in. So I should probably pack up right now. Heading back to Calgary here soon. If it goes okay, we might fit in one more flight lesson and stuff, but not looking too good. Well, you know what they say about weather up here in Calgary. Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Saskatchewan, everywhere else. Just wait 5 minutes. Holy moly, that was an exhausting day. But we are all done now, heading back to Calgary. Well, thank you so much for joining me for my first 2 days of powered paragliding. It was a little bit exhausting. The motor's a bit heavier than I thought it was actually going to be. I was like, yeah, this won't be a problem, but yeah, it's something to get used to. The following week when I returned, like every day, we started out with some kiting practice before anything else. Then we pulled the winch out again so we could add the last skill I needed before taking my first solo flight, which was holding the throttle during the flight. I also practiced clipping the brake line up so I had my hands free to pull the release. Finally, I felt ready to take my very first solo flight. I flew around for about a half hour. It was so freeing I didn't want to land. Just finished my two first successful flights. Not that I had an unsuccessful one, but you know, I landed and I'm still alive. Didn't break my feet upon landing, so that's always a plus. Alright, well, I'm gonna get this thing cleaned up, put it away, and hit the bed. So many bugs gave their lives for me to fly today. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's a little bit windy out today, so we're not going to be doing much paragliding. Probably be a bit more para-wading. You can thank my coach for that joke. Anyways, yeah, it's a bit windy, but we're going to see how many flights we can get in today. So yeah, we'll just be waiting around for the wind to stop. Woo! Fun! Most of the day I spent with Claudio drilling my takeoffs and landings over and over again so I could get them really smooth. And hands down, and okay. Later on, I took a longer flight, and then this happened. I just lost power. It was a good thing I had a radio connection with Claudio on my headset. He was able to talk me through the return landing. I was 100% on glide, so I had to get it right the first time. He told me to do some S maneuvers so I could lose some altitude. That way, I wouldn't overshoot the runway. But I misjudged my turn radius and lost too much altitude in the process. Either way, I was just happy to be safe. A lot to depack from today. Got about 5 flights in today, so I mean that was a pretty good plus. A couple problems happened along the way. First of all, this radio has been acting up quite a bit. For a little while, it was making a click, like click, 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 and I couldn't hear at all what our instructor Claudio was saying. So, you know, in the air, I'm constantly like fiddling with this. On the last flight of the day, it completely went out. I didn't hear any instructions or anything, so it wasn't too bad. I got the chance to land using nothing but hand signals. So that was good. He was able to direct me so that I knew exactly what part of the runway to come into. Plus, you know, having a little bit of training really helped in that kind of scenario. You know, I was able to watch for where the wind was coming from and land correctly, and it was pretty smooth-ish. All the landings are kind of ish right now. Second problem of the day, I ran out of fuel in mid-flight. Yeah. I mean, I checked to make sure I had enough fuel before I started, but I flew 3 times in a row. It's good to know my awareness now on exactly how much fuel gets used up when you're flying around like that. I was about 400 feet onto the next farmer's field. I had altitude of probably 800 feet, maybe 1,000 feet. So it was pretty good. I was actually able to glide in on the runway. Not the smoothest of landings, but that wasn't really a problem with me being out of gas. That was more of a problem that I misjudged some things. Probably could have landed pretty smoothly on that landing, but I didn't. Oh, another thing that happened today. I almost crapped my pants. No. So we were doing these things to send me into a pendulum, where you pull really hard on one side and then you let that go, you swing, so you swing back and forth. And yeah, I was like crapping my pants when I saw that my wing was below me. It was below me on the side and kind of scared the heck out of me. So anyways, that was a lot of fun. Hopefully there's some footage of that because it was a blast. Looks like we got another camper here. Cool, so I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much guys for following my journey here on the paramotoring. I hope you guys are enjoying this and seeing what it's like behind the scenes, seeing what it's like to learn how to paramotor. The following day was a lot more of drilling the takeoffs and landings, as well as some other maneuvers in the air, such as leaning in for turns, and one that Claudio called Big Ears, which is where you pull down one of the cords to help you turn. After all that, I still had an exam to write. The good news is I passed, but this also meant it was the end of my time at Air Adventure. Nothing else to do now but pack up. This has to have been one of the best experiences of my life. I learned some new skills, met some awesome people, and I have finally achieved one of my childhood dreams. Did you enjoy that story? Maybe you did. And that was about it. Well, besides the fact that I still had one more test to do at the Springbank Airport. But I passed that too. You know, I guess I should thank Tucker Gott for inspiring me to get into this, and I really hope I've inspired a few others too. Again, thank you for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys next week.